Measuring gas pressure. When we are on any service call, maintenance, what have you, on any gas-fired equipment, natural gas, propane, you should take a gas pressure reading of your incoming pressure and your manifold pressure. So to measure gas pressure in the manifold, you use the taps in the manifold or on the gas valve outlet and connect your gas manometer to that. Okay, tubing can also be slipped over one of the burner orifices. If you can do that, I don't really personally recommend doing it that way, but some gas furnaces, gas valves on some of these gas furnaces don't necessarily have a outlet tap on them, so you may have to check a gas pressure on one of the actual orifices themselves. But usually we have to do that pretty much on every service call and every sort of maintenance that we're dealing with. You will have two types of manifold gauges that you're going to run into. One of them is the spring gauge, or better known as a board-on tube. They have a hollow metal tube that is formed in a curve or an arc, and a pointer that is connected to the closed end of the tube as means of a lever, and when pressure is applied to that on the open end of it, the tube will bend and straighten out, and when it does, it actually will move the pointer to show you what your actual reading is. The problem is with a lot of these spring gauges, they are subject to mechanical damage because you simply maybe drop them or what have you, but they must also be checked for accuracy on occasions. The pressure gauge is connected to the manifold or the control, and the pressure is then indicated directly on the dial. Depending on the pressure gauge, the reading may be expressed in PSI or in inches of water column. The other type of manometer that you're going to use is your U-tube manometer. The gas pressure is displayed in inches of water column on that type of manometer, and the manometer is simply a U-shaped tube made up of a transparent material, and both legs of the tube is filled about halfway up with tap water, and then you probably insert like a little colored dye or something in there so you can see it. And then the water level on the manometer on both sides ends up at 0 for atmospheric pressure. The tubing of the gas manifold or control is connected to one end of the U-tube, and the other end is left open to the room air. And when gas pressure is applied to the manometer, the water in the gas side of the tube is pushed down while the other side rises. The manometer will then indicate the gas pressure in inches of water column, the height of the water column that the gas pressure will support with atmospheric pressure on the top of the water column. Usually, the U-tube has a ruler in inches between the two sides for easy measurement. The scale readings extend above and below the 0 point, and the pressure readings is obtained by adding the height of the water column above the 0 point to the distance below the 0 point. When you're using a manometer like this, you have to make sure that the water level is actually at 0 and level, otherwise you will get a false reading, but they are relatively accurate when you use them correctly. There are other newer manometers out there, such as your electronic ones. They are replacing some of the U-tube manometers on the service trucks, simply due to the fact that a U-tube manometer has water in it, and if the water freezes, it expands and can actually damage that transparent material that they use to make it. But studies have shown that if taken care of properly, your U-tube manometers will serve the same purpose and be just as accurate. Okay, so here you are. Here is a U-tube manometer right here. What we do is we will hook up our tube on one side of our manometer, hook it up to our outlet side of our gas valve, and once the gas valve opens to light up our burners, you will see that the water level will actually change. And all we have to do is we add up both sides of our water column. So in this case, we have 1.75 on this side, and it raised up 1.75 on that side. If we add 1.75 plus 1.75, that gives us 3.5 inches of water column. If this was a natural gas furnace, we would be right where we need to be for our manifold pressure. You will also see these types of manometers out here. These are your board-on or spring gauge type U-tube manometers. What's kind of nice about these is that they give you on the gauge itself two little gray areas. You see a gray area here and a gray area right here. Usually when the needle is in either this gray area or this gray area, you are within range of natural gas or propane. 3.5 inches of water column is right in this gray area. Your propane is right in this area. You use the same type of concept when you're checking gas pressure with this type of manometer. You just attach this little adapter into your outlet side of your gas valve, and you hook up your little tube to the end of it, turn on the furnace, and measure your gas pressure. You will also have something similar to this, which is another digital type of manometer. It just gives you a readout.